Hey everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 186.
186, back in the virtual basement, guys. Welcome once again to the ongoing quarantine show that we've been doing. Guys, it's as of yesterday, in Michigan here, the mask has been a requirement now for, 48 hours. And we've already seen at least one dude flip the hell out, stab somebody in a convenience store, a 77-year-old man, and then get shot and killed by a police officer when he attacked the cop with his knife. Holy shit. What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, a 22-year-old veteran sheriff's deputy out in the Lansing area, I believe like over the East Lansing area, responded to this call. The guy flipped out because they basically were like, look, you can't come in unless you wear a mask. He pulled a knife. He stabbed a 77-year-old guy who is stable and is fine, recovering, and then was shot when a police officer approached him, told him to drop the weapon, and I saw the video footage. I saw the body cam footage. He attacked her. He approached her in an attack stance, so she shot him. And she shot him. She shot a bunch of times. Like
that's an adrenaline reaction.
Yeah, she probably missed him a bunch of, and she it looked like she had to reload actually, and then he finally, because I think she might have shot him a couple of times and he kept coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was wrong with this dude, but
drugs.
No, probably might have been, but the clip I saw was fairly truncated, so who knows? But it was pretty fucked up. So guys, wear your masks, please. Just wear your masks.
Yeah.
I mean, for everything,
for some medical reason, then that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if it's because your freedoms are being taken away and it's a socialist plot, that's a little different.
Yeah, so CD was saying likely the mask was the tipping point for the guy. He was already, this guy was probably already on that border right there and stuff. And I mean, it's one of those things where we're seeing like these people get called out on the internet for being videotaped in their shitty behavior, and like people losing their jobs because of it and stuff like that. Now I'm fully in support of shit like that. Like they need to at least be punished for their shitty behavior. If they can't be arrested for it, then they still need to be punished for it. This is fucking fucked up. And people are all like, no, this cancel culture sucks. Yeah, well, it's proving to us that we need to be better. We need to treat each other better and react better and be nicer, because this shit is stupid. Like the guy at Costco that flipped out and he ended up getting fired. He was he was like an executive or VP at an insurance agency, I think, or something like that, and he got fired because he like completely flipped out and called people like racist names and all kinds of shit. And it's like, no, fuck that shit, man.
At this point, what it is people are frustrated. They're tired of being stuck, in this constant loop. But you know what? The only way we're going to get through it. Look at Europe. They're actually finally getting through it.
Yeah, Europe.
Had we kept going,
I think New Zealand actually completely lifted all restrictions.
Yeah, because they got to count as zero.
Right. They're like,
why?
We're doing fine.
They actually followed the medical advice of the WHO and of the people, the higher level medical personnel in their country.
Exactly. Now, a lot of these countries are a lot smaller than ours and whatnot, but still,
New Zealand is an island, so that helps.
But still, they followed the rules. They followed the recommendations of the professionals, of the medical professionals, of the scientists and stuff that have been studying this. And on top of it, they call the coronavirus a novel virus, which means it's new.
Yep.
We're still learning about it. I mean, they talk about, it's got a 1% survival rate. The thing is, it's turning out to be like it's a little less than that. It's more like a 2 to 3%.
And it's not a survival rate; it's a death rate.
It's or death rate. That's what I meant. Death rate. And thank you. But on top of it too, they're figuring out that there are lingering problems that people are having.
Oh, yeah.
Like some people are losing lung capacity. Some people are developing neurological problems, like they're losing their sense of taste
Or
because of
some
this.
of them are losing motor function.
Motor function, correct.
Some are having that will have lifelong heart conditions.
Right. Like muscle, like with
Yeah.
lethargy problems and stuff like that. Like, now, granted, this isn't happening to everybody. The vast majority of people that are getting it are recovering and recovering fine. But still, quite a few are still discovering that they are having lasting effects from COVID-19. This is a nasty, nasty fucking virus. And it is one of those things. It's like a lot of the other things that you catch and hang on to, like herpes or HPV or chicken pox that you can get later in life as shingles. It's these things that it might come back to haunt you again later on. So, wear the fucking mask, man. Just wear the fucking mask, you know?
Yep.
It's a small thing that could potentially help to stop and at least slow down the spread of it.
Is the mask 100% effective? No. Nothing is 100% effective.
No, of course not.
But if everyone wears a mask, it cuts down the infection rate by 70%.
Right.
Or the likelihood of you catching it by 70%. And really, the mask is actually to protect others from the possibility that you have it. Because,
right, exactly.
Oh, I feel fine is not a reason to not wear a mask right now, because we already know, and it's been shown that a lot of people are asymptomatic, and that even if you do wind up developing symptoms, you can be spreading this for 1 to 2 weeks before you show the first symptom.
Exactly. And you never know where you're going to pick it up. I mean, you could be social distancing and you could be keeping yourself, but you still got to go out. Right, exactly. Staying out of melee range. You still got to go get groceries.
Yep.
You still got to run to the gas station periodically, not very often right now, but you still got to run to the gas station. You may, if you are at work.
I don't have to go into the gas station, so when I go, I just I just pay at the pump.
Well, even so, I mean, it's still the surfaces of the pump and stuff. But I mean, and I mean, if you are at work, who knows? I mean, if there's still a lot of people that have to go to work and for various different things. You can pick it up from all kinds of different places. You never know. So,
I'll tell you what,
guys,
man.
It's just better
I was in the office last week, and I actually felt really uncomfortable because there were so many people there, and we were all crammed in. And I'd say, of the entire office, my area, it was probably about 50-50 on who was wearing masks and who wasn't. At least when they got up. But throughout the building, I would say it was at least 80 to 90% were not wearing masks.
Yeah, see, now it's required.
Well, and that's the thing. We just got an email last night saying that because of the governor's order, that it is required that people wear masks when they are not at their desks, if they are anywhere else in the building. But if you're at your desk, you can wear it. But the thing is that we still don't. They talk about social distancing, but you walk through there's no social distancing. Friday, there were so many people in my area that every desk was taken, and they are 5-foot desks.
Yeah.
And then it's the next person, and they've got these little plexiglass shields that stand up on the desk. But that's not going to do shit, because all they're up here, and you're sitting back here with everyone else. There's nothing blocking you here. I understand what they're doing. They're trying to set up that sense of security, but for me, it's not there. Especially not with the spike in cases again.
I tell you, some company made a lot of money on these plastic shields, man. A bunch of companies that produce these plastic shields because they're every fucking where.
Yep.
I mean, some company really went, holy shit, and took advantage and made a pretty sizable profit on this. So. Well, that's the state of affairs. That's the state we're living in right now. like I said, everybody wear your goddamn masks.
Donald Trump, for the first time since this started, was actually photographed in front of the media wearing a mask.
Yeah, fuck him again. Fuck him a fucking again. You know what that was? That was him standing in front of the Church of the Bible. That was exactly what that fucking was. He wore the mask into a fucking hospital where he was required to. And, of course, the mask had, like, you know, a little fucking, like, presidential symbol on it or something or whatever the fuck it was. But it was like, you know what, that's just another fucking reason for him to wear it. And on top of it, he fucking wore it wrong. He had his nose exposed. Oh, my God, I hate that guy so much. And, I mean, it was funny, too, because I saw this other shit where I saw, like, a comparison post of these Twitter followers. There was these two Twitter followers, or two Twitter, like, fans of Trump or whatever. And one was like, I'll never wear a mask, blah, 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 fuck that mask thing. And the other one was like, the same kind of thing, like, fuck that, I'm not wearing a mask. I'll never do that, I'll never give up my civil liberties, whatever. Post right, but screen cap of posts about the same people right below it, showing like them posting a picture of Trump in the mask and going, "Wow, that looks great. Where can I get one?" You know, and basically because completely reversing themselves just because Donald Trump did it. You know, so that's the other big fucking problem right there. And we've said it before, is Donald Trump's. Our government's reaction to the coronavirus has been one of the biggest problems. If Donald Trump had immediately come out and said, "You should wear a mask. Masks are good. They're huge. They're wonderful. They're, you know, they're bigly fantastic." Whatever. Then all of the people that aren't wearing masks, like, you know, most of his followers, would have worn the masks, and we wouldn't be in this problem as much. You know,
but no, man, it's a socialist plot to control us.
How about all the crazy bullshit from the conspiracy theorists that are like, don't let them put a vaccine in you for this COVID-19 because that's how they're going to track you. They're going to put tracking.
Well, they already track us because of the immunizations. So
right, yeah, exactly. It's because
I actually heard a guy on the radio.
How about the fact that they track us with these fucking things?
Oh, yeah, and that, or you just sit in your house with your phone near you, and you talk about something like cat food, and you don't have a cat, and next thing you know, Facebook's showing you ads for cat food and kitty litter.
Yep. Well, it's a crazy thing. Okay, so I got a casual friend, an acquaintance, really. He runs a kung fu school in Detroit. He runs it's like a kung fu martial arts academy in Detroit, and great guy, cool guy. I don't know him all that well. I mean, we've conversed over the years and whatever. He actually was one of the guys. Him and his family got one of the puppies from Dresden's litter, actually, as well. So anyway, but I was talking with my friend Zaina about it, and they mentioned Owen and his school and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know Owen, and da-da-da-da. Not in half an hour later, an ad for his school comes up in my Facebook feed. Not 20, probably within 20 minutes. They left the house, Zaina actually swung by to borrow a pair of horns that I have for a photo shoot she was using, or she wanted to do. And like I said, we were talking, we mentioned his school, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And sure enough, it comes up in my feed. Facebook. I was like, holy crap, that's nuts. The other day, I think I was mentioning something about Harry Potter and about, like, ways that we could potentially, that a friend of mine made a post the other day about supporting Harry Potter without supporting J.K. Rowling because of the shit she's been spouting off, the anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ stuff. Well, anti-trans specifically. Because she's not anti-gay, she's just anti-trans, apparently. The shit she's been spouting off, and people were like, don't buy her books new. If you're going to buy the books, buy them used. Don't spend any money on the new movies or buy movies. But if you're going to want to get copies of the movies, get them used or whatever. And there's a bunch of other different things. Yeah, exactly. Pirate. Support support like fanfic and supports. There's a whole listing of like supporting groups and stuff that are very LGBTQ friendly and that are also associated with the Harry Potter fandom. So Stella and I were talking about it. What comes up in my Amazon wish like recommended is a new set of the Harry Potter books with a house specific design element. And I'm just like, holy crap, dude. I mean, they are listening. They are certainly fucking listening.
Oh, hell yeah, they are.
So they don't need to track us with some kind of tracking implement. They can track us with the fact that we all carry one of these motherfucking things. So,
there was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was now. Oh, well.
Well, like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy.
Well, that's what it was. You actually just said that. So I was listening to sports radio. Because baseball's starting to ramp back up, and I wanted to hear what was going on with the NFL. And when I went to work, I'm like, I'll just listen to the sports radio and see what they're actually talking about now, because I haven't listened to the radio really in 3 months.
There's a game that they could still play socially distanced. It's baseball.
Well, yeah, except that they're all in the locker room together and all of that.
Sure. And the dugout.
And if they travel, they're all in the same bus or plane or whatever, and that's
but the game itself.
Yeah, the game itself, yes, is quite socially distant. But anyway, this guy was on there, and they were talking about mask wearing and things like that. And this guy came on, and he says, "Now I'm no conspiracy therapist."
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I'm like, he's a conspiracy therapist. And even the guys on the radio, the hosts, were like, "Therapist, huh? Maybe we need some conspiracy therapists out there."
It's like that commercial with where the guy he's teaching them people not to be their parents after they buy a house.
Yeah,
you seen that commercial? He's like, yeah, when people buy a house, they turn into their parents. So I'm trying to teach you. I find those commercials to be fucking hilarious. Personally,
I rarely ever see commercials, so.
Oh man,
but I think I've heard of those, and I think I might have seen one or two.
Yeah, he takes a bunch of people, and they're all at a store, at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or whatever. And he's like a middle-aged guy, and he's teaching these younger people not to act like their folks, their parents. Like some guy, he's got a plumber fixing his sink, and he's like, "Yeah, is that that's a spanner wrench you're working there? Good choice." And he's like, "Hey, now you hired him. You're not working with him. You hired him. It's just shit like." These two guys see this guy walk by with blue hair, and we all see it. We all see it. There's a blue hair. He's got blue hair. It's fucking funny, man. Anyways, go ahead. You were saying.
No, that was it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like I said, I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but and I'll admit that some of the conspiracy theories that people put out there, they could have some weight to them. They could have some some truth, but at the same time, the government doesn't care that much about what the fuck you're doing to put a tracking chip in every single one of us. Nope. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. So it's just...
As long as you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, they don't care.
Yeah.
And that is go to work for a living, don't complain.
Exactly.
Be a mindless zombie. Be a mindless corporate zombie.
Exactly. Be a mindless corporate zombie. So, how was your week otherwise?
Well, I mean, it started off great. It was great up until last night. But, so we had gaming on Friday with our game.
Yeah.
And that was a blast.
Lots of fun.
You guys took out your first big bad.
Right, yeah, we did.
The guy you were hunting down.
Yeah.
And you guys got
thanks to a critical hit with a was it a fireball?
No, it was a chromatic orb.
Chromatic orb, yeah.
Chromatic orb for critical hit. You can't crit with a fireball.
We can't cast fireball yet.
Right.
Maybe in our thing. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then Saturday I had my other game where we actually entered a tower made of fire. Looking for the gray gem in the Dragonlance world. So that was entertaining. We fought a fire spider actually. or I don't
Right.
know what it was actually called, but that's pretty much what it was. It shot
Right.
burning webs made of metal at us.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was nasty.
I don't think any of those burning webs actually hit either, too. So that was like.
Oh no, that wasn't in ours. That was in my other game.
Oh, that was in your other game. Pardon me.
No, you guys just had regular giant spiders. But then the rest of the weekend was fine, and then last night I was playing with one of my dogs, Belmont, and we were running down the hall. It's one of his favorite things is to run with you, so we were just kind of running down the hall, and I stepped and felt something in my ankle snap. And it
sucks getting old, doesn't it?
It does. And the thing is at the time, I'm like, okay, that hurts a little bit. It's definitely uncomfortable. All right, we're done playing. Here's the rest of your food, blah, blah, blah. And I called Renee up to have her take a look at it. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's swelling. That's definitely swelling. So we put some ice on it. I laid in bed, watched some Big Bang Theory and iced my ankle for a while. Took some ibuprofen. She's like, do we need to go to urgent care or ER? And I'm like, nah, let's see how it goes tonight. We kept it elevated all night. Slept. I actually got a decent night's sleep. Woke up this morning and it was hurting pretty bad. So called my doctor. They said, yeah, come in. We got to make sure it's not broken. Did that whole thing. No break, no surgery, but there's tendon and ligament damage. And so I'm in a walking boot for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, it's like we were saying, man. I mean, sometimes sprains and strains and stuff like that can hurt worse than breaks. And at least you don't have to go through any surgery or anything, so that's good.
Yeah, but this is a week before I'm supposed to go on vacation. Not even a week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You're great. Yeah, that's right, guys. So we're not sure exactly what we're going to do, if we're going to make pre-record another episode or whatnot. But at the very least, there will not be a live streamed episode on Twitch next week.
I was going to talk to you about that because we may do something different. Watch Facebook and Twitter and stuff for an announcement on what we're going to do.
Exactly. So yeah, but it's a drag, man. I mean, sorry. I mean, were you going to go anywhere on vacation?
We're going up north. Yeah, that's why
you can still do that. You just can't go hiking.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I can't go hiking. I can't go biking. Even going out on the boat isn't as easy. So yeah, it's the cabin is on a hill, as Renee just said. It's So yeah, a large hill. Yeah, it is. Basically I will sit in the cabin and paint is what I'm going to wind up doing.
Yeah, probably.
The cabin's also 3 levels,
paint minis.
So it's not easy even getting around inside the cabin. So
right.
But the boot, I'll tell you what, I've had the boot. I got it this afternoon, and honestly, it has helped 100%. I mean, I'm sitting here right now. There's no pain in my ankle.
Well, good. I mean, that's an effective medical procedure there, or medical treatment then for that.
And if I walk, it doesn't really hurt. There's a little discomfort, but not a lot, unless I move to where I shift my weight to the outside of my foot at all, or twist my ankle at all. Try and twist my ankle at all. Then it hurts. It reminds me, hey, you're not supposed to do that. So.
Right on. So
how about you? How was your week?
Same old. Just kind of once again, kind of sitting around waiting for work to start. I was working on some more drawings and stuff, and watching movies and whatever. I did talk to the boss again on Thursday, and he said it's going to probably be. It's not going to be this week, but could potentially be next week. Pretty soon. I mean, he gave me I'm not getting the run around or anything. It's just a matter of time. It gave me but he did definitely say it should be sooner rather than later. So that's cool. To come back to work, and I'm honestly looking forward to it because I want to get back to work. I mean, granted, the way the heat's been for the last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they don't care the last couple of days, but it's supposed to ramp back up into the 90s again by the end of the week. So,
the days this weekend were actually gorgeous.
Really nice.
Even Monday.
Really nice.
Monday was absolutely beautiful. I sat outside for an hour after work, just sitting out there, just enjoying how nice it was and the nice cool breeze.
Yeah. Today too, I was out there for a while. I was like, yeah, it's really nice out today.
Today I was actually stuck in the basement all day, and then really with my foot, I really can't go out a whole lot.
Well, like I said, the studio of the Parade Company studio is just really, really hot. When it's hot outside, it's hotter in the building. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm also looking forward to getting back to work and getting back to normal, at least some semblance of some normality, even though the new normal is different from what we're dealing with. So, but yeah, caught some more stuff that I've been wanting to watch on Netflix or whatever, and Stella and I just getting by, just chilling, just doing what we can. We gamed last Friday. That was nice. The other game I played on my Thursdays got canceled because our DM wasn't feeling great, and I don't know, just same old shit. Just kind of living the new life here,
living the dream.
Yeah, trying to. Today is the anniversary of bringing Dresden home.
What's funny is
today.
I just got an update, or I was looking through pictures on Facebook, and it was showing me, or not on Facebook, but on Google, and it was showing me pictures from like a year ago, give or take a couple of weeks. And
sure. One
of the pictures is the first time you brought Dresden over for the podcast, and he's laying on the dog bed. I'm like, oh, he was so little.
He was a little guy. Yeah, but yeah, I just shared the post from a year ago, and it's amazing how time flies, how dogs grow, and how coats shed.
Oh, yep.
Because
finally, happy day.
Yeah. Apparently, he has started to, he was blowing coat like crazy, but now it's seemed to have calmed down a bit. We're still getting, Dresden weeds tumbling through the hallway, but it's not quite as bad as it used to be. Mm-hmm. So there's that. So, and then also in celebration of 20 years ago today, I'm wearing my X-Men shirt, because 20 years ago today was the premiere of the X-Men movie, the original X-Men movie with Hugh Jackman.
You know what happens to a toad?
Hugh Jackman!
You know what happens to a toad when it gets hit by lightning? Same thing as everything else. Oh, horrible line.
Horrible line. Still easily one of the worst lines ever. It was really bad. It's such a good, and it was such a good movie overall. The movie, the first X-Men movie was a really solid superhero movie, and there was a couple of times when that, goddamn, it was just Halle Berry really kind of got the shaft in those movies. She's an A1 actress, and she was great as Storm, but there were so few times that she really got to shine as that character. So in the entire trilogy of the original ones, and then even when she showed up in the other movies, as cameos and whatever, she never fully got her chance to shine. So it's just a little bit of a shame. Although she could,
lame dialogue.
She could still go back, and she could continue to play Storm.
She's one of those. Do Storm, but I want to see her do Storm with the mohawk.
Oh man, that would be so fucking hot. Be so fucking hot. The crazy. She kind of did. The last movie or two that she did, her hair was styled in like at least a semi-hawk or a faux hawk or something. But I don't know. We'll see. It's that's the thing. They're talking more and more about how to integrate the X-Men into the MCU now. They've talked about like having Storm show up potentially in Black Panther 2. A couple other things like that. So I think that'd be a pretty. I think slowly integrating the X-Men into the movies overall, like having one or two of them show up, even if it's just as cameos and stuff. That's kind of how they did the integrated the characters in the MCU initially, like Hawkeye having a cameo appearance in Thor, and those kind of, and the Hulk showing up in Avengers and stuff like that. I think that by integrating the X-Men into the various movies slowly and then doing an X-Men movie would be a good idea. So we'll see.
Yep. I liked Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I mean, I thought he did a good job. My only complaint is that he's like a foot too tall to play him.
Yeah, that was my only complaint. He's 6'3" and Wolverine's 5'3". So, but otherwise, I mean, that's something I can overlook. You know, his performance was so good as that character. I can overlook
that.
And I'm okay with it.
I love when he like flipped off
Cyclops with
just the one claw.
Yeah. You're a dick.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay.
How do we know it's really you? You're a dick.
Yeah, he's like, okay, fair enough. So what are you drinking, man?
I am drinking something that I've been holding on to for a while. This is Stone's Woot Stout 2018.
Right.
The Stone Farking Wheaton Woot Stout. Mind-blowing amalgamation of flavors. Front and center this year is the result of Will's creative machinations, taking the art direction duties with world-renowned fantasy artist Joe Jusko, representing our gargoyles' triumph over the evils in the world of beer. 6 years into this amazing Woot Stout legacy, and I continue to be stunned and humbled by the response of our fans. Sure, it's an amazingly delicious specialty imperial stout, perfectly inspired by Kentucky Derby pie of Drew's home state. And speaking of Drew, we asked him to lean into two of his strengths, drinking Woot Stout and chatting up a storm. So this year he'll MC our wildly nerd-nominicious celebration of beer and geekery known as HopCon/Woot Stout release party held annually during San Diego's Comic-Con. This is all 2018, obviously. Sure. The nerd lives in all of us. Celebrate it. Now is a golden age for us lovers of awesome things. We're here, we're vast, and we've got great taste. This beer is an ode to you, fellow nerd. It is an imperial stout, so it's a heavier beer. It is 11.5% ABV. And this is an ale brewed with pecans, wheat, and rye, 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels. And, you know, I was trying to figure out what it tasted like to me, and then reading that description on the back made me think that it's actually pretty accurate in that it is Derby pie, or as they put it, Kentucky Derby pie. Kentucky Derby pie is basically a chocolate pie with pecans and some bourbon flavoring. It's something that I didn't think I would like when it was first presented to me when I lived down there. But in all honesty, it is one of my favorite things in the world. I love Derby pie, and this tastes a lot like a liquid Derby pie. It's got a bourbon aroma. Considering only 1/4 of it was actually aged in bourbon barrels, the bourbon aroma does come through. It has a chocolatey flavor. It is very sweet. To the point where Renee didn't even like it. I poured her some, and she actually brought it. Said it's all you. It's too sweet for me.
Right. Yeah.
It's it's got the chocolatey flavor. It's got a little hint of bourbon. It does have some. You get some of that pecan in there. I'm gonna take another sip real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I think honestly. Delicious. It is delicious. It is what I would want in an imperial stout. It is sweet, but that's an imperial stout thing. But yeah, it's got a lot of the chocolate, a little bit of the pecan, a little bit of the bourbon. You get the vanilla, not so much the oak, but the bourbon and the vanilla flavors. It's actually, I think, a really well balanced, if overly sweet, imperial stout. It's I don't a lot of times like imperial stouts. A lot of times they can come off a little burnt flavor to me because there's too much in the way of roasted notes, but this one is absolutely delicious. It is dark as my soul, and with a little off-white head. Not a whole lot of glass cling, but this has also been aging for 2 years, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, this is delicious. I'm going to give this 4.5 stars, or 4.5 bottle caps, I think, out of 5.
All right.
This is really, really good for what it's supposed to be. It's absolutely fantastic. like I said, this is the 2018 Woot Stout. They do one every year. I haven't seen this year's. I don't know if it's out yet, or if they've even because like they said, they normally release it at San Diego Comic-Con, which isn't happening this year. So I don't know if it will actually even be made or not. But yeah, this is the one that Will Wheaton actually teams up with Stone Brewing, along with some other people too. Yeah, it's Drew Curtis, Will Wheaton, and Greg Koch, or Koch, Koch. So, yeah, not sure that you can find this particular one, but yeah, if you see Woot Stout, give it a try. This is the second one that I've had, and of different years. I had the 2017 as well, and that was also really good. So they do a good job. I've followed Will Wheaton and seen some of the stuff that he's brewed, and he is an avid home brewer. So.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So what about you? What are you drinking?
Well, I am drinking something that you can't get in stores, unfortunately, but you can get at the Bee Nectar at the
tap room.
The tap room. Thank you. This is now it's Core Crusher. This is like I bought a howler or growler. It's a howler of it. It's a 16-ounce howler of it. It's Core Crusher, but what they do is in the tap room they've been serving and they're making simple syrups and been adding them to certain ciders and meads and stuff to create different drinks. And what they did here is they added a cinnamon raisin simple cider.
Simple syrup.
Or simple syrup to Core Crusher. Core Crusher is their super dry cider. A good cider, but once again, not my biggest. I'm not the biggest fan because it's way dry. It's like super duper dry, and I don't mind a dry cider, but it's almost a little too dry for me. But by adding this cinnamon raisin cider syrup to it, makes it fucking fantastic. You were just talking about a beer that tastes like your mud pie.
Derby pie.
This tastes Derby pie, whatever the fuck. It's a Derby pie. It sounds like something a horse leaves behind in on the track. Okay, it's gross. Anyway,
I'll bring some back for you next time I go to Louisville.
This tastes like an apple pie, man. It's fucking fantastic. I'm gonna go back to the tap room and get me some more of these. I gotta get a growler of it because it is really fucking good.
Well, it's great that you live close to the tap room too. So
I could walk there and stumble home if I wanted to. I really could. It's about maybe less than a mile away. It's like I said, this is really, really fantastic. I've got some of the strawberry mead as well that I'm going to be saving for next week. But this is really, really fantastic, though. Well done, guys. Well done. Another great creation. Hopefully, this is something that will be in the tap room regularly.
So you said it tasted a lot like an apple pie?
Yeah. Yeah, it tastes a lot like an apple pie.
Okay.
And it's really fantastic.
I'll have to try that out. I haven't tried any of the ones with anything with the simple syrup yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 6.5 ABV. So it's a little, it's a little higher, but not ridiculous, This makes the Core Crusher, turns the Core Crusher into a good cider that's just really not my cup of tea, so to speak, to a cider that I will order every time I'm there. This is fucking fantastic. So,
well, it makes it sweeter. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it sweeter, and it tweaks the taste a little bit to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, I like this a lot. So that's what I'm drinking.
You can get in the store.
Yes, Core Crusher. It is a bottled cider, and once again, it is a good cider. It's just too dry for me. It's just not really what I prefer.
Yep.
But it was still pretty good. So anyway, we should move on. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do. And
this week,
we're already 40 minutes in. We just.
Well, what are we gonna do? So unfortunately, we had some deaths.
Yes, we did.
Why don't you start us off, Chris?
Well, the big one that I didn't hear about until I saw your post on Facebook this morning, Grant Imahara.
Yeah,
that one hit me hard because one, he's the same age as me,
and he's 49.
And two, I was a huge fan of him.
super nice guy. From everything, the number of people that I know that have met him at various different functions and conventions always talk about how nice he was. Really great guy. He is, and it was very unexpected. He apparently had a brain aneurysm and just winked out. So it's pretty sad. Pretty sad.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that shows
he was, of course,
anyone can that can hit anyone at any time, and just
exactly. We had he passed. He was previously famous for being on MythBusters for a number of quite a few years, and then he'd been on a bunch of other shows. Apparently, yeah. Apparently he was. I mean, he's had a lot of experience in entertainment. Though he was part of. He was, I guess, a special effects like wizard for ILM too, like a computer or special effects guy.
Well, I believe
he had some maybe an engineering.
I'm sorry.
Right, yeah, mechanical engineer, and so the guy. I mean, and like I said, people talked about how nice he was, how great he was, and it's really sad. And our hearts go out to his family, and just sucks a lot.
Carrie posting, I saw Adam posting, I saw his fiance posting, so
yeah, sad. So once again, like a drink, we'll probably just let's do a group drink to all three of them.
Because there were three of them. They come in threes.
There's three. We do. The other one was another
BattleBots.
kind of an unfortunate one, but less of a.
He did BattleBots back in the day.
Yeah, BattleBots. Okay. The other one was less of a tragedy, but still somewhat sad, was the death of Kelly Preston, the wife of John Travolta. She was in a number of movies. She's been in a bunch of different things. She was in Twins. She was in she was in Jerry Maguire. She was in
Sky High.
Sky High, which is one of those things that maybe the nerd contingent remembers her a little bit for. She had a small role in Battlefield Earth. Which was, of course, Travolta, one of Travolta's babies. She was in Gotti, another one of John Travolta's movies. But yeah, she died of a 2-year battle with breast cancer. And she was 58, and she passed just the other day with, surrendering to that fight, unfortunately. So our hearts and minds go out to the Travolta Preston family, and hopefully they can weather this. Yep. And it kind of sucks. I saw a trailer, actually, speaking of John Travolta, I saw a trailer coming up with Kevin Hart, a Kevin Hart movie with John Travolta in it as well, a comedy called Die Hard, where I guess Kevin Hart he plays himself, essentially going to a training course to be an action star, to learn how to be an action star, and Travolta is the guy that teaches him. Yeah, so John Travolta shaved his head completely. So
well, it's not the first time he did that in
Love
or whatever it was.
Right, it's not the first time, but I think it's something that I think he's been needing to do. I hear he's been wearing hairpieces and stuff for a while, so it's just one of those things.
Embrace it,
hey, John. Yeah, maybe. So anyway, our hearts and minds once again go out to them. And then last, but surely not least, if you want to take the last one.
Yeah, it's Naya Rivera, 33 years old. Was out boating with her 4-year-old son. They went swimming. She got him back in the boat, and then she never got in the boat, according to what her son has said. He was found floating in the boat, sleeping, and
he's 4 years old.
And they asked, and he said, "Mommy, we went." He basically told the people that talked to him that they were swimming. Mommy never got in the boat.
Right. The kid, the little boy, was wearing a life vest. She was not.
There was an adult-sized life vest in the boat
that she was given when they rented the boat for this. They were out on the lake. Apparently, the lake is known for having some weird currents and stuff that might have carried her away from the boat.
It was a 6 or 7 day search for her too before they found her body.
Yeah, they found her body and stuff. So, Naya Rivera was probably most known for her character of Santana on the TV show Glee.
Who started off as I never really watched it, but I was reading about it. She started off as like the bad girl, the mean girl.
One of the mean girls,
and then became like a fan favorite, and even wound up in a same-sex relationship by the end of the show.
Yeah, it was revealed that she was gay, and it was I did watch the show. My ex-wife and I watched the show a lot, and she was very, very talented, extremely talented young woman. And like I said, age 33, same age as Stella. It's really sad. It's very, very. It's really, just we're seeing so much tragedy, and it's just kind of such a drag. Yep. So that sucks. Sucks on ice, So anyway, a toast going out to the three, yep. or the three celebrities that passed this week. Rest well, Sláinte.
So one of the things, right. I don't normally say Sláinte when we do the toast to people who have passed, because Sláinte actually means to your health.
It does, yeah. My bad. So anyway, moving on. There's one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up real quick that is in the media lately and stuff. I mean, we deal here on Nerds with Alcohol. We do try and keep it kind of light, and so we do tend to talk about a lot of like nerd stuff and stuff that's in media,
pop culture,
and pop culture, celebrities,
pop
and stuff
culture
like
news
that.
Is what I like to think.
Right.
As
exactly, and so one of the things that came up most recently is it was revealed that Jada Pinkett Smith had a relationship with this young man. His name was August Alsina. And apparently it was during a time when Will and Jada were on a break, essentially. Excuse me. I don't know all the details involved, but from what I understand, Will left. He had some kind of crisis. He had some kind of... They were having marital problems, and Will decided... I mean, they had... Jada Pinkett Smith has her Red Table show that she does on Facebook now, where she brings her mother and her daughter, Willow, and the three of them talk about issues within... And there are all kinds of issues. It could be issues between... amongst themselves. It could be issues out in the politics and in the world in general and whatever. And... it's actually kind of a cool show, and they'll have guests on and stuff. But it's a pretty cool show, just showing like a real talk between three generations of women and stuff. So, excuse me. And anyway, so she had Will on. It was just her and Will, kind of like because it had been released. This guy August Alsina, I think he's a rapper performer, and he had basically come out to the public saying, hey, I had a relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith. And so she wanted to clear the air.
I say, so his career was floundering and he needed something to try and get his name out there?
I don't know. Probably. So she had Will on the Red Table. It's just the two of them hammering it out, talking about what happened, and trying to just clear the air, which I think is pretty smart. And before things got a little out of hand and everything. And there was a lot. I watched the interview. I watched the two of them talk, and there was a lot of like dancing around and trying to be coy and stuff like that. And Will actually called her on it a couple of times, saying, hey, "Come on now, what was it?" Because she called it an entanglement. An entanglement.
Yeah, and that's why I've been seeing all the memes about the new Disney thing, Entangled, and
yeah. She had a relationship with this young man. Now, she is 43, 44 years old. And at 44 years old, I believe, and the young man is 23 at this point. And they talked about the fact that how they met him is that he was sick. I think he was a friend. Apparently, he was a friend of like Willow's, a friend of one of the kids. I think it was Willow's, and a little bit older than Willow, but still a friend of theirs that they had met, and they helped him. They talked about how they helped him heal. I think he was going through like maybe personal issues and everything else, and she helped him heal. They helped him heal, and that's how they got to know the guy. And I saw a post just today actually, saying that if Will Smith had started a relationship with a young woman that he had met through his daughter, that they had originally met as he was trying to mentor her or help her, and then started a relationship with her, that the public would be screaming and calling for his head. But because it was Jada Pinkett Smith that did it with this young man, it's all jokes and comments and people going, "Oh, girl, you get yours," and whatever. And nobody is bringing up the idea and the fact that she kind of met him and it was kind of fishy. It was kind of like, maybe it was mildly inappropriate. Now, granted, they're all adults. He wasn't underage. He wasn't even close. He was like 23, you know. He was 5 years out of being an adult, or into being an adult. Now, granted, a lot of people basically feel that most guys aren't truly adults, and even the experts are saying that most of us don't even start thinking like we're adults now until we're at least 25. But, so, granted, once again, this guy,
Renee and I
August...
have always talked that she's definitely the more mature one in this relationship. I mean,
absolutely.
I do a show that talks about nerd shit all the time.
Absolutely. Anyway, you know, and the age difference doesn't bother me either. I mean, it's like, I have dated women much younger than me. I'm dating a woman now that is substantially younger than I am, just like you were married to one. So the age difference doesn't bother me so much as how they met and the circumstances leading up to it. You know, there's the fact that she had a mentor type of relationship with him. Now, I don't know all the details. I don't know how their relationship grew, how they met, whatever. Now, and they did say that she and Will had broken up. It wasn't he thought they were done. But then eventually, apparently later, they did end up coming back together and reconciling, and that's good. I mean, there was talks about that Will Smith, there's rumors that Will Smith was dating Margot Robbie for quite a while, because they did several movies together and whatnot, and they were seen together in public a lot. So there was idea that they were together. There's also a lot of rumors saying that
who the fuck cares?
Right. There's a lot of rumors saying that Will and Jada have had an open marriage and an open relationship for a very long time as well. So a lot of us don't know about. We don't know. We just can speculate. My biggest thing, right? It's not our business. My biggest thing was how nobody is dealing with that. Nobody is talking about the fact that, yeah, Jada, that might have been mildly inappropriate. Not criminal, but maybe not the best decision you could have made is getting involved with one of your daughter's buddies. You know? Because, yeah, if Will had done the same thing, the public probably would have called for his head on a spike.
Possibly, but it wouldn't have been any worse. In my opinion, it wouldn't have been anything different than what she did. So in this case, I don't think they're both adults. She wasn't cheating on her husband or anything like that.
No, she wasn't.
I mean, yes, there.
If anything,
yes, there can be the double standard, like CD said.
Yeah, and that's my issue is the double standard. I think we need to remember and recognize when that kind of thing happens, and make sure that people get called out for it. It's a double standard, and we need to just to fucking remember that shit.
But I mean, personally, I think that everybody's adults. Fuck it, it's their business, not ours. Just because they're in the public limelight is the only reason that anybody's even talking about it.
Exactly. And when we should be talking about why Breonna Taylor's murderers still haven't been charged.
Why they haven't been why they still haven't been charged or anything like that. And so many other things that are going on. It's all distractions.
It is, and we're responsible too. I mean, we talk about these distractions on our show, but
our show is a distraction.
Some distractions.
That's the whole point.
It is a distraction.
We make no bones about the fact that our show is supposed to be a distraction.
Yeah, and the thing is our distractions are still needed. They're still needed. We need to do these kind of things and have these distractions. Otherwise, we're going to lose our fucking minds. Because a lot of people are saying, are questioning, are we going to be all right in 6 months? Are we going to be? Is when the winter rolls around? When the winter rolls around, are we going to have this quarantine under control? Is COVID-19 is going to be at least mildly under control? If we don't get our shit together, then no, it won't be, and we're going to be sitting.
Don't insist that schools open up when it's not safe.
Yeah.
Don't insist that people start going back to work when it's not safe. I
Right.
mean, we've got to still do everything that we've been doing, and we have to go back to doing what we were doing before when it was working. Because
Right.
as soon as they start open, and I knew this was going to happen, as soon as they start opening it up a little bit, the floodgates open, people stop listening, they stop doing, oh, we don't have to do anything anymore. We're good.
Right.
And that's not the case. You still have to wear a mask. You still have to stay out of melee range. You still have to do all of those things that you were doing before. It's just now you can do a few other things along with it, as long as you're careful.
Like a friend of mine organized a big Zoom call the other day. My friend Zana, actually, we got Dresden from one of my oldest best friends. And she organized a big Zoom call just to have with a bunch of us in our little family group and stuff, and so we did, and two of the couples were together, were eating together. They were having a little barbecue, and so they were being very responsible and very careful, and they know that. I mean, it wasn't a huge gathering; it was just the two couples and the one couple's two kids, and they'd all been were they're all very certain and careful that they're not sick and everything else. This doesn't mean that we can't still gather in small groups. It doesn't mean that you and I couldn't still sit in the same room and do the podcast. It doesn't mean that we could have a gaming group together of 4 to 6 people and still have a D&D game together in the same room.
Actually, what we did on Saturday, my other group, we actually still get together again now.
Right. As long as we're all careful, as long as we're not, coughing on each other, and we're doing and still maintaining some distance and being careful, we can still do those kind of things. A lot of this stuff is just precautionary, and it's precautionary because it's stuff that works, that's proven, that to help stem the tide. And so for everybody that decides that they need to go out into a group of like 50 people, no, that's not a great idea. This over the weekend, the Great Lakes Renaissance Festival was supposed to open. It was supposed to open on Saturday morning. It did not. It got canceled. A lot of vendors and acts showed up at the Great Lakes Renaissance Festival in Ohio to open. And then, because the owners were like, yeah, we're going to open, and the state, the county board said we could, and all this other shit. And then the state walked in and said, no, sorry, you can't open. And so all these people were like, oh my God. Now the owners are trying to do an injunction to try and get the state to back off so that they can open. But then another judge said, nope, you still can't open until we have another trial at the end of the month. Or another hearing. Court case. Hearing, thank you. So they're going to have another hearing at the end of the month. In the meantime, so that they can potentially stay open for 3 weeks total. Now in the meantime, all of these performers and booth owners and stuff now are basically sitting on their hands going, now I don't know what we're supposed to do.
We're losing money now.
Right. Because some of them have come from a distance, some of them come from out of state, from all over the place. The Kentucky Renaissance Festival did open this weekend. And amongst a lot of mask wearing and a lot of precautions.
Kentucky's also the only state where the Attorney General sued because the governor put a mandatory mask order in place.
The governor in Colorado called people that are anti-mask wearing, they called them
selfish bastards.
Selfish bastards. That's right. That's what it is. He called them selfish bastards, and then extended the mask wearing, policy. It's like, you guys are being selfish. You're selfish bastards. And I'm like, bravo, good for you. Whitmer today actually announced that she is extending the pandemic emergency until August 11th, I believe.
Yep. And the Republicans will probably sue again. That she's overstepping her authority, and the courts will come back with the same thing they've been doing, saying no, she's fine.
Yeah, and then one of my friends was like, "Oh damn! If it had been another week, then the Michigan Ren Fair would not been able to open on their opening day." So I don't know. It's crazy nuts.
So let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about some nerd shit.
Let's talk about some other fun stuff. Okay. One of the things that I was going to bring up, Giancarlo Esposito, who is playing the villain on The Mandalorian. For those of you guys, you'd recognize him. I mean, he's a character actor, been a bunch of stuff. He was on Breaking Bad. He was the big villain, one of the big villains of Breaking Bad. He's done a lot of different things. It was just revealed that he is the face and mocap figure for Far Cry 6.
I just saw that Far Cry 6 was coming out. I saw the Ubisoft event was yesterday. I think it was.
Right, so I think it was yesterday. They released the trailer for it.
I haven't watched the trailer yet.
Oh, you should check it out. It's pretty awesome. Instead of taking place in a remote Montana valley in the United States, it's taking place in a third world country or Central American country, and Giancarlo Esposito is playing a dictator.
Okay.
So, and with his son, he's like teaching his son lessons. And
it looks like a young son too.
Yeah, like a young teenage, like 13, maybe 14 at the most. So anyway, he did say that he's recently Giancarlo Esposito has got his eye on the MCU, and he would love to try playing some characters in the MCU. So anyway, yes, they have revealed some new stuff about Far Cry 6. I'm still playing Far Cry 5. A game that I wouldn't normally go into because it's not very sci-fi fantasy oriented. It's much more couched in reality. I do like some games that are couched in reality, but this one's pushes a little too much of the realism with, like, you're gunning down people, as opposed to. Now that doesn't mean I'm not, I'm not a big wuss about it. I mean, I play Grand Theft Auto and I play, Red Dead Redemption and it's stuff like that, but a lot of the stuff I try and a lot of the games I play, I prefer to play things that are a little more, a little more fantasy-esque and stuff. Like I said, I am playing, the Wolfenstein games where it's pretty bloody, but those are Nazis at least.
Who doesn't get into killing Nazis?
I love killing Nazis. I mean, Aaron doesn't love killing Nazis. So anyway, Far Cry 6, February 18th, 2021. On PC, PS4, Xbox One, PS5, and Xbox Series X. I'm looking forward to that because
I really enjoyed Far Cry 5.
Like I said, I've been playing it. I've been enjoying it. I have the expansion to play when I'm done with it. I will probably end up getting it.
I need to get that.
It was on sale. I have it for my computer.
It's kind of goofier because you get like chainsaw guns and shit like that. So it's
it takes place. It's post-apocalyptic and stuff. So. So this isn't so much a sequel as it is a just kind of.
Well, most of the that's the thing. Most of the Far Cry games are standalone. They don't like one doesn't lead into the next. They're all their own stories. It's just that they use the Far Cry name because they're using the same type of gameplay, so you know what you're getting.
Right. So yeah.
I just restarted Last of Us this week.
Oh yeah. I gotta get it.
And I forgot you had to. Renee's like, no, I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm not gonna even get into watching you play this because I don't want to watch that little girl die again. I went, what? Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
It's steeped in realism.
Whoa, yeah, you ain't kidding. Speaking of Last of Us, I had a kind of a thing here that The Last of Us 2 lead animator reveals that real horses were mocapped at Sony. They brought in real horses. They brought in apparently the entire stock of rubber mats for the entire world, pretty much to pad the where they were doing it. And they brought in horses. They put it on Jeremy Yates, who was, I believe, one of the main the guys that led the design for the game. Posted some video on his Twitter account, and they. For safety, a layer of plywood and pretty much the entire current world supply of rubber mats were ordered for the floor and arrived just days before shooting. And they mocapped horses, real horses, for Last of Us 2. That's pretty amazing, pretty fucking cool. Basically, it looks like they attached like mocap points to the horses in various different places. and then mocapped them. Now they're also saying that, I mean, Last of Us 2, there's a bunch of different articles attached to this. The Last of Us 2 nails the horror of reality by embracing the sudden, undignified nature of death. If you go to, excuse me, burping again here. If you go to, if you go to Games Radar, there's a bunch of different articles about Last of Us Part 2, about the storytelling. Last of Us Part 2, accessibility options mean literally no one is left behind. Apparently there's a lot of accessibility options for people who can't necessarily hold a controller normally or play on the computer. I believe it's not available on the computer yet, but it probably will be.
I've seen some that it's visual. People with visual issues can still play, and there's a lot of accessibility for that.
They have responded to the abuse and harassment of their actors online. We talked about it last week, about how Laura Bailey was harassed online because of this. It's another article saying The Last of Us 2 and the heartbreaking detail about Lev you might have missed, about the various different characters, complicated women characters and their survival. It's apparently an article posted on June 26th. Last of Us 2 sells 4 million copies in the first weekend. Yeah. Its story is so powerful, even the spoilers couldn't ruin it. It's just, apparently there are no plans for Last of Us 2 DLC, but there's a lot of articles about it, a lot of different information. It's probably going to get a lot of awards and stuff. There's also another thing I read about. Now, we talked about that in the game. Apparently, there is at least one point in the game where you cannot avoid killing a dog. It's part of a cutscene, so it's not even really something you're doing in the game. It's just part of this thing. But there is another part that they recommend where there's a part where you are given the option to kill a dog or to sneak past it. And the game, they're saying you really should probably, there's not a ton of benefit, but to the story, it'll make you feel better. You don't end up killing this dog. So it's the dog Bear is the one. Not to ruin a bunch of spoilers, but this stuff is already out in the world. There's the one canine Alice that is unavoidable, but Bear is the one that you can sneak past. So, kind of sucks. But there is it's a rough game. It's a rough game, but it's also well worth playing and very beautiful.
So on to some Disney Plus news.
Okay.
Disney Plus announced the new Star Wars animated series.
I was going to talk about that too.
The Bad Batch, which I haven't gotten to them.
Clone Wars.
I don't remember. I don't think I've gotten to them in Clone Wars yet. I really need to finish that series.
I need to start it.
I'm on season 3 or 4, and I haven't watched it in a month or two. But I need to get back to it. But yeah, so it's basically about a batch of clones that kind of go wrong. There's actually anomalies. They're not true clones. There's genetic differences, and they're introduced in the Clone Wars, and this is going to follow them basically being mercenaries after the Clone Wars.
Yes, it says it takes place after the Clone Wars and Order 66. As they take on daring mercenary missions and struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. They each have their own specialties. One is incredibly strong, one's a real great shot, the other's really, really smart. So they all have a singular, exceptional skill that makes them an incredibly effective soldier. Probably the reason why they weren't, kind of destroyed after it was figured out that they were a bad batch.
Well, and it's from executive producer Dave Filoni, who's done Clone Wars, Mandalorian, things like that. So
he's part of the fantastic Star Wars team that's doing really, really incredible stuff.
The non-Kathleen Kennedy part of the team.
Exactly. So that is it's debuting in 2021. Yep. Now the nice thing about this kind of stuff is this is all, since it's computer animated and everything. it's one of those things that we're going to see that is not going to be delayed by probably much by things like COVID-19, because it's stuff that can all be done at home. You know, it's like, as long as they have a proper workstation and a powerful enough computer, they can do this kind of work at home. So it's pretty great.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it. I probably won't watch them until I've watched through the Clone Wars, though.
Definitely.
So.
But yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, I need to finish. It's one of those things where I've got a bunch of half-hour shows that I forget about. Like, I have like 3 episodes of Young Justice left to finish for the Outsiders, and that's it. I need to finish that show. I need to just sit down, and watch those watch those 3 episodes, and 3-4 episodes, whatever I got, and finish that series off, because it's so damn good.
It is really good. So speaking of new television stuff, I've been kind of like, you know, I'll pull. There's so much content. See, that's the thing. There's so much content. You're like, I don't know what I want to watch. There's so much shit, and you're like, what do I watch next? So sometimes I'll just go, you know, I've been meaning to watch this for a while. I'm just gonna watch it. I watched like Upload on Amazon Prime, which is a pretty cool show. I just watched. I watched the first 5 episodes. Kind of binged the first 5 episodes last night of Hunters on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And it's a show, takes place in 1977, and it's. I bring it up because it's got a lot of nerd references in it too. Specifically, the main character is works in a comic shop and has a lot of like. He's a big comic fan, and he makes a lot of references to like various like comic book references and stuff. Like at one point he calls Al Pacino's character. He's like, I didn't know you were Batman Rich, or Bruce Wayne Rich, I think is actually what it said, and stuff like that. There's another point where he and his buddies are talking about the merits of Batman having a sidekick and things like that. And hell, even the very first scene, they come out of a theater having just seen Star Wars. So it's a pretty cool show. And basically, it's about these people that are hunting down Nazis that are living in America in World War II. And I'm not talking about like the Nazis we got now. I'm talking about Nazis that actually were like concentration camp like officers and shit like that during the war. You know, 30 years later, they're finding out that, you know, the American government brought Nazi scientists and doctors here to the States to work on in the space program and various other things like that, and figuring out that they gave them lives and gave them new identities and stuff like, you know, which is a real fucking thing, which actually did fucking happen, you know. So these people figure this out, and they decide to go after these Nazis, and then they find out even more that there's this huge conspiracy of these Nazis still living and working together and conspiring against the American government. So I don't know if that was the real thing, but it is true that the American government, and it was called Operation Paperclip, they brought over these, you know. At one point they even talked about, what?
Do you want your food now?
No. I'll eat in a little bit, thanks. Anyway,
show.
I'm going to show. I said to her, I go, just, you know, if you want to start cooking around 9:10 or so, we'll be done about 9:30. You know. So, anyway, where was I? This show is really cool. It doesn't pull any punches. The first episode is 90 minutes, actually. I'm sitting watching it, and I was like, man, this episode gone on for quite a while. It's 90 minutes. No wonder. They don't pull any punches. It's graphic, but it is really cool. And the way they film it too, there's various like cutscenes and stuff where, like, it's like an intro to a 70s movie. Like, he's introducing the characters, and hey, this is this character, and this is that character. Because they're a ragtag team of specialists to hunt down these Nazis, and so there's a little bit of comedy, but there's also like some really serious issues and stuff. And I mean, there's flashback scenes where they go back to the concentration camp and when stories are being related or remembered or told and stuff, and about things that happened, and so it's some real serious shit. But then there's also like a point where the main character, he's like 19. He gets really stoned and then fantasizes about a dance scene where they're all dancing to the song "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees. So,
okay.
But it's a cool fucking show. 10 episodes. Like I said, Al Pacino,
what's
one of the main characters. Hunters.
Mm-hmm. It's on Prime, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's on Prime. So
I've seen it advertised on Prime. On Netflix, something I've been hearing a lot of good things about is The Old Guard.
Yes, I was going to bring that up as well. People are saying really good things about it. Now, it is based on a comic book.
Well, and a lot of people that I've, like my buddies that have seen it already, they said,
yeah.
And they were talking about it, they said, it's got the feel of a pilot.
Yes. Yeah, I'd also heard that as well, that they could very easily turn this into a show or at least a series of movies. Now, basically, I guess it's about a group of immortal
warriors.
Immortal warriors, unkillable. I guess they heal very, very quickly and from a lot of very dramatic wounds. So, okay.
There could be only one. I mean,
yeah. But the thing is that they do state in the movie, too, that for some reason, they never know when, but you can just suddenly die. And you could die and not come back. And they don't know when it happens. They don't know why it happens. They just know that it happens. So, Charlize Theron is one of the main characters, and looks pretty cool.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's this group of immortal warriors that they've been around for centuries, and all of a sudden they find a new one.
Right, exactly. Every once in a while they find a new one, and they find a new one. She's like an American soldier and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently, some of these people have known each other for like 1,000 years. Like they met during the Crusades and shit. And there's flashbacks apparently of them and their previous lives. And right, Justin?
But I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard too. Apparently, Charlize got hurt like twice. Pretty sad. Like had to have like 2 or 3 surgeries to repair the problem, how she got hurt while filming this film. She's one of those actresses that like does not shy away from stunts. She hurt her thumb pretty bad, like I guess like jammed her thumb blocking a punch, like really bad, and then didn't realize how bad she had actually hurt her thumb until like several weeks later, and had to have some surgery.
The fucking stairway scene in Atomic Blonde.
Oh my god! Christ, that movie's
got a great soundtrack. But overall, I found that movie to be highly entertaining as well. And that stairway scene was phenomenal.
Highly recommend that movie. That's great. Atomic Blonde takes place right around New Year's of like 79 to 80, or thinking, or is it 80 to 90? 89 to 90.
It's all 80s music.
Yeah, I think it's 89 to 90. And it's taking place right before, actually it's right before the Berlin Wall comes down. So it would have been 88. From what I understand. Yeah, something like that. It's right around then.
Because 89 is when it came down.
Right. And it's, like I said, it's right before the Berlin Wall comes down. And, really fucking cool movie, man. Highly recommend that one. It's a really badass film. Charlize Theron, man, and she's shown, like, she's always done action. She's done a lot of, like, she's a pretty broad-range character, actress, but she has never shied away from action,
I've liked her in just about everything that I've seen her in, too.
Well, I mean, she's awesome in Mad Max and Fury Road.
I still haven't seen that, actually.
Oh, man, you really got to see that. It's incredible. And the thing is like, they're doing a prequel to it about her character specifically, about Furiosa. The thing is, she is not going to be playing the character. They're recasting because she's playing a much, it's a much younger part in the character's life. And apparently she was kind of bummed out because they were like, well, what about these... There was talk about using the de-aging, software and using the programs to make her look younger. And then
she doesn't exactly look old right now.
Right, exactly. And people are still like, well, we're not quite there yet. And people are like, well, what about the fucking, the thing Scorsese just did? I mean, with De Niro and everything, the Irishman or something on Netflix, yeah. Where they use that technology to make those actors, Pacino, De Niro, and Joe Pesci, all look younger so that all 3 of them could play their characters through like a 30-year span. But they say, I guess the director still is like, I'd rather recast. So,
Well, Charlize is only 44.
Yeah, she's younger than I am. So, and she's only 44, but she can still play in her mid 30s. Yes. You know, she can easily play 34. So, I don't know. One of these to turn it around again. Doom Patrol season 2 has been out for like a week or two now. I still haven't gotten into watching it yet, but I'm really looking forward to that. That is one of those ones that you can't stream yet. It's episode by episode, just like Stargirl. So, gonna get into that one soon as well.
Yeah, I'm still on episode 4, I think, of season 1.
Such good stuff. So I had a couple of comic book things, but not much. The DC Comics is going to finally collect the Who's Who series that was created in the 80s. For those of you guys who may not remember, or may remember, I don't know, for those of the older comic fans, in 1985, right after the original Crisis of Infinite Earths, DC produced a 26-issue series called Who's Who, and it was basically Yes, you do, and I do too. They were one of the ways that I kind of, at the time, started to develop my encyclopedic knowledge of superheroes, because of comic book characters. Because what it did is, and you can get kind of something similar in like these big books here, like I threw on my shelf there, the various encyclopedias of Marvel, encyclopedias of DC,
Marvel
brings up where it shows
and DC
an image
both
of the
did
character.
That right about the same time.
Right, exactly. And they've been printing out every year or two. They bring out a new one from Dorling Kindersley, the publishing company Dorling Kindersley. But it would show an image of the character and then a blurb of their history and powers, and generally within 1 to 2 pages.
It was
sometimes
Wikipedia
2 pages
on the character before Wikipedia.
So there were. They did a series called Who's Who in the Definitive Directory of the DC Universe, 26 issues from 85 to 86, or 87. And then in 87, there was a Who's Who update with 5 issues. And then in 88, another Who's Who update for 4 issues. So they had these, and I think they kind of realized, they're like, well, we're going to constantly be updating these. So they stopped putting out regular ones. And then would periodically just kind of put out like event ones. And Marvel Comics did a similar one too. They called it the Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe. And I have a whole bunch of those as well. And they actually reprinted those and collected them, which I have them in black and white. They were reprinted in black and white. So some pretty cool stuff. But DC has never made an omnibus or reprinted them. And now they are. It comes out. Let's see, when does it come out? It comes out next year in April, April 13th of 21, from Penguin Random House. It's going to be 1,328 pages.
Wow.
Yes, because it's going to collect the original series, the updated from 87, the update from 88, plus material from Action Comics Annual Number 2, Batman Annual Number 13, Black Hawk Annual Number 1, Detective Comics Annual Number 2 in 88, Dr. Fate Annual Number 1 in 89, Green Arrow Annual Number 2, Justice League Annual Number 3 from 87, Secret Origins Annual Number 3, Swamp Thing Annual Number 4, The Flash Annual Number 3 in 87 from the 87 series, the New Titans Annual Number 5 from 1995, the Question Annual Number 2 in 88, and the Wonder Woman Annual Number 2 in 88. So a bunch of Who's Who type entries that were in those annuals are going to go into this. So over 1,300 pages. It's going to be like this fucking thick. It's going to be nuts.
At first I was like, oh, I'm going to get that. I don't know if I want 1,300 pages, though.
I looked at the price. I looked it up on the Penguin website or whatever, and the publisher, the Penguin Random House, $150 for the hardcover.
Yeah, see, they need to break that up into like 10 different things, and charge $15 a piece, and people.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, that would be cool. The thing is honestly, and the thing about it too is honestly, it's all outdated material at this point. Most of that stuff is from at the newest was 95. From like the mid '90s. Yeah. So, I mean, you're looking at a lot of stuff that's pretty outdated, pretty old stuff from right after the original Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985. It's pretty awesome. I might eventually see about getting it on Amazon if I can find it for a lot cheaper. But I don't know. Part of me just wants to get it. I mean, that was a thing. A lot of really great classic artists contributed to it. They got a lot of like Perez and Art Adams and McFarlane and like McFarlane in his early part of his career did a few. I remember doing a few pinups.
Speaking of
George Perez,
on him too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of but some really cool stuff, some really memorable stuff. The thing about the stuff for the Marvel version, so the Marvel handbook, a lot of times they got the same like 4 artists to do. Like it was, but for this there was a pretty wide range of a lot of different artists that chipped in for these kind of things. So it would be kind of cool to go back and kind of remember some of these things. And honestly, a lot of the characters I've been re-envisioned. Some of them don't exist anymore. Some of them, haven't been brought back into the New 52. So I don't know, it'd be kind of cool. So I remember reading the hell out of them.
Oh yeah, man, I loved those. It taught me so much about characters that I'd only seen or heard about in the background. I never actually saw them in the comics themselves. So I'm like, exactly. Hey, who's this guy? Oh, he's cool. And that was right about the time I was also playing Champions a lot. So it gave me a lot of inspiration for creating Champions characters.
Right. I mean, it was how I first learned about certain characters I had never seen in comics before. Like the first, I think, learning about maybe, particularly in the Marvel universe, like Moon Knight or maybe Captain Britain, some of these other characters that I just didn't really know a ton about.
And flip through them and you're like, wow, that costume's really cool. Who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. And then it also gave you details about their powers and stuff too. It's like how I proved when we were talking about the origin of Captain America's shield. And how originally it was a alloy of vibranium and adamantium, where they don't tend to talk about that anymore. Now it's just vibranium because of what they've done in the movies and how adamantium is more closely related to Wolverine, and how they couldn't use the various different things because of the different licensing that had been sold off to different studios. So yeah, it's just. I'm looking forward to seeing these characters and maybe seeing it again. But once again, that's an investment. It's a $150 book, so I may actually not get that right away. I probably won't get that.
Well, just to bring up McFarlane and specifically McFarlane Toys. McFarlane Toys just did something for Critical Role.
No shit.
Yes, they have done a Molly Mock statue.
No kidding.
It looks fucking amazing. But it's also $80.
Oh man, no kidding! I'm gonna look that up right now.
It is really fucking cool, and it is way up there with that quality that McFarlane Toys is known for. But it looks amazing. But at $80, I'm like, ugh. I don't know that I want it that bad.
Well, that's really cool. That the Mighty Nines Molly Mock Tea Leaf 12-inch figure.
Yeah, it's 12 inches tall, so I mean, it's big.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It is.
That's really great.
I'll tell you, if this sells.
Oh, okay, right. I'll tell you, if it sells well, it's going to. I mean, they'll make more. That's really fucking badass, man. Yeah, $80. See, it's a 7-inch wood grain base featuring the Critical Role logo. Comes beautifully showcased in themed packaging, befitting our beloved Blood Hunter in all of his flamboyant glory.
It looks like we're live on the stream right now.
Really cool. All right. Well, we should probably wrap things up anyway. Yeah. It's getting close to that time.
The last thing I wanted to bring up though today, Peace Talks.
Okay. Oh yeah, Peace Talks came out today.
I have downloaded it. I have it on my Kindle.
Oh, okay.
My Kindle app. It's actually on my tablet. It's a Samsung tablet with Kindle. So Yep, I have it. I will be starting to read it this week. I can't wait. It's been too long since I've had a new Dresden story.
Well, you'll have to give me a spoiler-free review because it's going to be a little while before I'm going to get the chance to get around to it. I still kind of want to read Briefcases before I read that.
Briefcases was really good,
but
I enjoyed Briefcases.
Yeah. A lot of that's the short story anthology. So there's that, and then on top of the fact that Stella still hasn't read Ghost Story, she finally did read Changes.
Yep.
But she's like, it affected her on a base level.
Well, I mean,
so
she's got Ghost Story and
there's like 5 books.
At least 4. I was gonna say, but yeah, because the last one was
there's Ghost Story, Gold Days, Skin Game. And then there's Side Jobs and Briefcases.
Skin Game was the last one, which was a fantastic story, actually.
Really was good. So that's the thing. It's been so long. I kind of want to reread, at least maybe reread Skin Game again. I was rereading
all of them, and I've gotten to Proven Guilty. That's where I'm at right now. And now I'm like, well, I thought I could get to it. I kind of fell behind on reading those because I've been reading a bunch of the X-Men comics. I'm actually up to like 250 something in the X-Men comics, and it's getting weird. I'm well past where I stopped reading them, so I've been reading a bunch of those. I've been reading a bunch of other stuff. I've been reading stuff for Warhammer now. Which, by the way, I have built my first models. There's one. That's the first one I built. My little Doom Warrior. And I have built my first Doom Knight, who is fucking looking badass.
That you can't argue. I mean, that the Warhammer, figures always looked fucking amazing.
They are badass.
The sculpting is incredible, and they've only gotten better over the years.
But, I mean, I've been reading so many other things, plus I've been reading stuff for work and things like that, so I've kind of fallen behind on my Dresden reading. So I thought I could get to all of them before Peace Talks came out. But now I'm like, I kind of want to go back and read Skin Game again before I start Peace Talks. So it may be be a week before I really get it, but I wanted to get it the first day because I just love it so much. I want to make sure that they realize how much, the publishing company actually realizes how much people were waiting for this, and I want to be part of that and say, look, I want it now. Whether or not I read it right away, that's one thing, but I want it now.
I should have had Stella order me a copy of it at least, because she ordered a book on my Amazon earlier today, and I forgot. I should have said just order me the new book, but whatever. Yep. I'll get to it eventually. So I really I'm missing a character too, so.
Yep.
All right, we should probably wrap things up. Once again, guys, thanks for joining us, particularly you guys on our Twitch channel here. And looks like we have about a half a dozen or so people watching and or whatever. But yeah, be sure to tell all your friends about us and keep
give us a follow. We could really use it.
Yeah.
If you haven't already followed us.
Yeah.
Give us a follow.
Yeah, that would be great because we could certainly use it. Even if you're not listening or watching all the time, every week, it would be really great if you could help us out. But in the meantime, you can also stream and download all of our shows at various places that you can find quality podcasting. For some reason, they still let us on. Guys, you can check us out on iTunes, on the Google Play Store, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, and radio.com. And, of course, you can download and stream all of our shows at nerdswithalcoholshow.com, as well as check us out on Twitch and on YouTube at Drinking Nerds.
And you can follow us on all of the... As we lock up again on the stream. I must be having some internet issues. You can follow us on all of the... or most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. Twitter, Drinking Nerds. Instagram, Drinking Nerds. Of course, Twitch, Drinking Nerds. And you can follow us on Untapped. Just look for Drinking Nerds, send us a friend request, and we'll get you added. And also, make sure that you watch our Facebook page and Twitter account over the next couple of days as Russ and I discuss what we're going to do next week, because I will be on vacation next week, so we will be dark next Tuesday. But we may be able to work something out where we can do something later in the week or something like that. So
Exactly.
I get back from some much needed time away.
I can dig it.
So
All
all
righty.
right. Well, I think on that note.
On that note,
Until next time. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
That was pretty good.
Oh, that was a good one.
Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.